Right, my friends, hello and welcome back to another video. Today we are talking about a situation that I've been watching develop in the background, and since I've seen so many YouTubers cover this topic outside of the skateboarding world, I feel like someone in the skateboarding world probably should have a thing or two to say about it as well, right? So, as you know from the title, Bryan Arnett has been in a little bit of hot water recently. Now, Bryan's content used to be predominantly skateboarding, but over the recent year or two, he's kind of pushed it into the prank category. Now, pranks can be done well, they can be done terribly. I would say Bryan does them pretty well generally, but this one that we're going to be talking about today does seem to be a bit silly. And then he also made a video where he posted about him being sued for the video, where I remember watching it, and there was a few bits in there where I saw it and I was like, bro, this video needs to be deleted ASAP. This is like double incrimination right here. So thankfully Bryan did delete that video. A few people did tell him to in the comments, so he obviously listened. However though, the lawsuit looks like it's still going to be going ahead. So with that being said, let's do a little bit of a deep dive into the news articles and the lawsuit itself. And then we're going to see what some other YouTubers' opinions are on this. And then I'm going to give you my opinion on this. So with that all being said, let us jump straight into it right here. So first thing I'm going to start off with is this. I know you shouldn't listen to Shredder News really, but this I thought was hilarious. InNOut sues Tik Tok Skater, Bryan Arnett over prank video. Tik Tok Skater, bro's literally his predominant platform is obviously YouTube, but I think he is big on Instagram as well. I didn't even know Bryan had TikTok. Let's have a look. He's got 170,000 followers, but that's not his biggest platform. That's not bad. I post on there every now and then. But anyway, back to business. This made me laugh. The burger joint giant is not happy just from the title. And there's a few news articles that have obviously seen this, copied it, and just called him a TikTok skater, which I found hilarious. Alright, okay. So this is the New York Post, a publication, a journalism site from obviously New York, believe it or not. And we're going to have a little read through the thing that they posted. So InNOut sues YouTube prankster for posing as worker, making lewd and racially insensitive remarks to customers. Now, I don't know if you guys actually saw the video itself that Bryan posted. There was definitely some questionable things said. I'm not going to quote any of it because I didn't watch the full video, and I obviously don't want to sit here and say, oh, he said this, he said that, when I don't know word for word what he said. But let's just say there were a few questionable things in there for sure, and I'm sure this is probably going to get into it. So let's go forward. Popular fast food chain InNOut is taking legal action against a YouTube prankster who what the fuck is this? I literally just noticed this at the last second, just burst into flames. I'm pretty sure Soulja Boy just dropped his mixtape on that train. Anyway, Bryan Arnett, who has more than 600k followers on YouTube and Instagram, posed as one of the fast food chain's employees at several of its Southern California restaurants on April 25th, going as far as to don InNOut's iconic white t-shirt, red apron, and paper hat to fool customers. That's where the YouTube prank becomes next level, when you start posing as an employee of said restaurant, because you're not just making yourself look a fool by doing these silly things, you're also making that brand look exactly how you act. You're a representation of that brand at that point. I remember I was really surprised when I heard this for the first time too, but when I was at school, I remember after school, there was this kid that was bullying me at school. So basically at the end of the day one day, he was 3 years older than me. I waited around the corner, waited for him to come out, jumped out at him, roughed him up a bit, and then obviously next day I go into school, and this guy had obviously told all the teachers and that, and he was crying in the office. But then the school comes out and tells me that even though it happened outside of school, we're still going to punish you, give you detention and all this, that, and the other, because I was wearing the school uniform. So technically I was representing the school in that situation. So I can see why InNOut are so upset about this, considering the things that was being said in the cars. So the social media prankster pulled off the stunt in Easter when the restaurant was closed, and was seen offering fake menus, making inappropriate comments, and asking uncomfortable personal questions to customers. There's a picture of it right there. I'm almost certain the video is deleted by now, at least it should be. YouTuber Bryan Arnett has been sued for InNOut for prank videos he filmed at his locations. The video, which has since been made private, as it should be, shows Arnett making comments to unsuspecting diners such as, I like watching my wife sleep with other men, is that something you'd be interested in? He's going for the cuck angle. And that the restaurant is only serving gay people, bro. When you say stuff like this is where you're going to be getting in trouble, because there are people on both sides of the fence in America. Some people love the LGBTQIA movement, some people do not. Personally, I support anyone who wants to do their own thing. As skateboarders, we've all been ostracized in our own lives at some point by someone, so I can relate to them a lot for that. But the people that are on the other side of it, that hate that kind of thing, if you tell them at InNOut, their favorite restaurant, you're only serving gay people, you best believe they're going straight to the news, they're going straight to the police, they are having a field day with complaints that day. So I can see how this became such a snowballed thing right here. Anyway, carrying on. He also had one of his buddies pretend to be a customer and claim that a cockroach had been found in an order while speaking to a real customer. Yeah, it's a skit, but that is going to land you in some serious trouble, in my personal opinion. Later on in the video, he disgustingly pretended that a condom had fallen into a meal, according to San Francisco Gate. On June 20th, InNOut filed a lawsuit against Arnett with the United States District Court for falsely representing the company and defaming its brand. And this is something that is going to be... He obviously defamed the brand, right? He posed as them and said things that he knew weren't true, like I found a condom in the meal. Because with defamation, you have to prove that the person that is defaming you is saying it maliciously and they know that it's not true. Maliciously, maybe not with Bryan, but knowing that it's not true, definitely. So that's going to be tough. Although the brand, I believe, also has to prove that they lost money through this. And if they can say, like, oh, my stock's dipped 3%, 5% on this day because this guy put out this video, then yeah, maybe they could use that. But it's a little bit more difficult to prove that you've lost earnings because of it, because you do have to have that to get the damages back from a defamation case. Trust me, I've looked into this 1,000 times over when I was going through that thing with Aaron Cairo last year, and I had to back myself with a lawyer. So it seems as though Bryan might be getting in a little bit of trouble. Okay, continuing the read. Arnett visited multiple InNOut locations in Southern California wearing a fake uniform bearing the InNOut's trademarks. The lawsuit obtained by SFGate reads, Arnett made lewd, derogatory, and profane remarks, such as stating that InNOut had cockroaches and condoms in its food, and that InNOut associates put their feet in the lettuce served to customers. Bro, I don't honestly, Bryan, I know, like, I understand, right? You are probably a little bit younger than me, like 4 or 5 years. I'm pretty sure you're like mid-20s, something like that, early 20s. So there's a lot to learn still. Obviously, you know a lot more about YouTube than me, but in real life, like, this is something that, as a prank, I think is so clear to get you in trouble. Like, pretending to be an employee and saying these things. Obviously, we live and learn. There are plenty of things that I had to learn the hard way, as I'm sure there are for you as well, Bryan. But it's not about all the mistakes that we make. It's about how you learn from them, as I'm sure pretty much all of you guys know. You can get hit and knocked down 1,000 times, but if you get up 1,001, you're still a winner in my eyes. So, Bryan, there's a lot to come back from here. This might cost you a bit of money. Arnett also asked customers if they wanted their meal doggy style, a play on the chain's animal style food order option according to the lawsuit. That is kind of funny. The YouTuber also allegedly made racist remarks to one customer, asking them if they wanted a monkey burger and telling them it came with a damn near black bun. Okay, that sounds like bullshit. That sounds like one of them things where they've pissed him off, like Bryan's pissed like a customer off, and they've been like, right, I'm going to get back on this guy, make up whatever you need to get him in as much trouble as possible. I've seen people try that in real life, so I wouldn't put it past that it's happening here. So I don't believe that whatsoever, that they're calling him racist. That just doesn't seem like something, especially Bryan, who's like heavily Christian, would do. You know, the company has called Arnett's stunts and remarks defamatory, insulting, racially insensitive, bizarre, and lewd. They emphasized that his comments were not merely jokes, but rather portrayed the restaurant chain in a negative light, harming its well-deserved reputation. Arnett has a history of run-ins with InNOut management before the chain filed its lawsuit against him. I think he's done a few things before there, where he went and like put his own face on the wall as Employee of the Month. I'm pretty sure that was InNOut, but you can correct me in the comments. The prankster had been previously removed from locations in the past for trying to pay strangers orders with pennies and... I don't know why I quotated that. I'm going to start this bit again. The prankster had been previously removed from locations in the past for trying to pay for strangers' orders with pennies and for posting fake Employee of the Month plaques featuring his own photo in its restaurants. So it was in and out. Following the lawsuit, Arnett posted a video on his YouTube channel in response to the legal action, but it has been since put to private. However, the influencer appears to be undeterred by the lawsuit, according to SFGate, which viewed the response video before it was made private. I wouldn't say I'm worried about the lawsuit, Arnett said. Like, yeah, sure, I'll probably be annoying or whatever, but whatever's going to happen is going to happen. InNOut is taking a strong stand against InNOut by seeking a lifetime ban from 418 restaurants nationwide, along with any profits he may have made from his video and possible financial damages. Okay, so if they win the case, he might have to pay their lawyer fees as well as his own, which we all know in a case like this is usually the most expensive thing. So if they win the case and he has to pay the lawyer fees, his own lawyer fees, damages, and give the money from the video, I can't imagine the money from the video is going to be much. What, got like 50k views? That's going to be like $250, which for a YouTube video is great, don't get me wrong, but when it comes to a business like InNOut, probably not going to make that much difference. So he's probably going to lose like $250 there, a lifetime ban from all the restaurants, and the financial damages will be what they can prove they lost as a result of Bryan making the video. So for example, if they can say like, after Bryan did this video, this specific store lost 10% of its customers, 20% of its revenue, something like that. They have to be able to prove that in writing, concrete evidence in order to get any money from Bryan. But if he has to pay their lawyer fees as well as his own, it could be a bit of a sticky situation for him. But I mean, he's feeling confident. I wouldn't say, as someone who's followed along with cases like this and been in one myself almost, it got to the point where the lawsuit was going to be filed. However, they backed out last minute because I had an actual good lawyer on my team, which, Bryan, by the way, actually, I've got a fantastic lawyer for stuff like this. So if you want help or need it, you probably already got it. Hit me up. I'll send you his details. He's a YouTuber as well, so he understands everything when it comes to stuff like this. I would 100% recommend him, but if you need him, just hit me in the DMs and I'll send his details over. Anyway, so now that we've read through this, we're going to go and check out this YouTube video right here. Now, you can see this topic has blown up a bit right now. There's so many videos about Bryan and everything and whatnot, so we're going to watch this one from August the Duck and see what his opinion is, because this is someone I watch semi-regularly, so I'm interested to see what he's got to say. Let's jump in.
YouTube pranks have been my least favorite form of content on this website for at least a decade. I think I was probably around like 13 years old when that switch flipped in my head to where when I saw a YouTube prank, instead of laughing, I went, oh, these guys are losers. And tragically, for some people, that switch never flips. Now look, don't get me wrong, I love a good harmless prank, a prank that's actually funny. For example, there's that one guy, I think his name is like Ross Creations. His shit is actually funny. There's a good payoff, the people are actually in on it, nobody's getting hurt. There's an actual punchline, if you will. It's not just somebody like, I don't know, pretending to be an InNOut employee and asking the customers if they want to fuck your wife or something like that. You know, I don't really know. I'm just spitballing ideas here. Okay, actually, you know what? I can't lie to you guys. As much as I'd like to get the credit for coming up with such an amazing prank idea, I've got to come clean. I admit it, I did not come up with what is now known as the classic pretend to be an InNOut employee so you can...
Honestly, I slightly disagree with what he said so far. He was saying how like certain prank YouTubers can do it really well and other ones don't. I thought he was going to say that the majority of Bryan's pranks were good, but just this one was bad. The fact that he's trying to say everything. Yeah, he does inconvenience like random people and employees and stuff like that. And to be honest, I can see where people are coming from, that they're upset with pranks like this. Personally, I don't watch pranks at all on YouTube. It's just not really my style of content, but I can see why people do. However, the audience is generally mostly little kids. So to entertain the little kids, you need to keep things spicy, you need to keep things rolling, controversy, all this, that, and the other. So kind of falling into that rabbit hole a little bit of just like being that YouTube prankster. And as you can see, he is inconveniencing people here. So I'm struggling to get behind the video. But anyway, let's continue and see what else he has to say.
Ask the customers to cuck you prank. That was all Mr. Bryan Arnett, a YouTube prankster who is now facing a pretty big lawsuit from InNOut because of a video he made where he pretended to be an InNOut employee. The video has been taken down, so right now in the background you're watching another one of his masterful pranks where he tricks people into thinking a baby's gonna fall to its death. Really funny shit. Now unfortunately the entire video was not just him asking customers if they want to fuck his wife. I honestly think that kind of would have been a funnier choice than what he did decide to do, but it's just standard YouTube prank behavior. He fucks with the customers, makes people uncomfortable, and just really does nothing but wastes people's time. It's that classic issue with YouTube pranks where the prank is more so between the prankster and the audience, and the person who's getting pranked is actually just the victim of an annoying little shit. Now
that is true, but when the prank is harmless, like obviously damaging a business's reputation is not quote unquote harmless, but this baby one, for example, there's nothing in there. he is stressing people out, that's for certain. Like, where do you draw the line between a slight inconvenience where the prank is still funny, or like actually harassing people, pissing them off, making them upset, ruining their days in some respects? Like, there's a fine line between. It could definitely be worse. Like, there are pranks out there that are way worse. There are certainly pranks out there that are more creative and fun. I think Bryan leans more into the creative fun side of things. I don't think he's as bad as some of these people are saying he is, especially considering, like, I've watched him for a while, so I know him more than these people do. Like, obviously I don't know him personally that well, but these people have just seen him for the first time here, so I can see why they might have this vision of him, because they've only seen this one video, and to be honest, it's not a great look. So yeah, I'm going to continue.
Tried to access the actual documents of the lawsuit, but for some reason, the Pacer system does not like me, so wasn't able to do that, so we're just going to have to go by news articles, which is just going to have to do. But before we do that, we're going to look at a couple of clips from his original video. It's been taken off of YouTube, but I found a few bits of it on TikTok, just to give you guys sort of an idea of what he was doing. For context, this was filmed on Easter, and all InNOut locations are closed on Easter, so that's how he was able to get away with this, or at least get away with it for a little bit, which, saying that reminds me, the limited edition August the Duck desk mats will only be available. Okay, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but if you're a person who defends these kind of quote pranks, I just want to try to help you understand why this isn't a prank. The guy who's being filmed here, the guy placing this order, should be the person who's getting pranked, right? That makes the most sense, but what is the prank for him? He's having his time wasted by a guy who's going to make money off of him on YouTube because people are going to watch this video and laugh at this guy. This guy's not being pranked. Again, the issue that a lot of YouTube pranks have is that the joke is only between the YouTuber and the audience.
Okay, I do have to disagree with this one slightly, because yes, Bryan is wasting the time of the people in the car. He's not necessarily making them the butt of the joke. Like, the butt of the joke, I believe his intention is making himself the joke. Like, he's saying these things to make himself look embarrassed, so people are like, what the fuck, who is this guy? Like, he's trying to give shock value to these people. Yes, it's wasting their time. I think he's trying to make himself the joke and saying for the YouTuber and saying for the audience to laugh at him, as opposed to like victimize and laugh the people in the car. You know what I mean? I can't imagine Bryan would vindictively try and make these people look a fool just to get a bit of extra cash for a video, but you never know. You never know. But personally, I don't think that's the case.
It's not a prank. This guy's just going to drive off having his time wasted, wondering why he didn't get his food, and questioning why InNOut chose the absolute worst employee possible to go take orders. There's nothing funny for him. There's no prank aspect for him. It's the same thing with that horrible, shitty trend, which I think is my least favorite prank trend of all time that's going around right now, where they go and scream in a store and pretend it wasn't them. Who is that funny for inside of the store? Nobody.
Yeah,
these aren't pranks.
Happy Easter, man. How you doing today? Let me get a double, Brody, and then order fries.
Hey, there was a cockroach in my bag, bro.
A cockroach?
Yeah. Like, what's going on here?
I'm so sorry. We've had like a pretty bad cockroach problem this week. The inspector's coming tomorrow.
I need free InNOut for the rest of the year.
I'll give it to you. Let me just handle this.
No, you gotta stop this order. I need a refund.
Just 1 second, man. Just 1 second.
No, listen.
So let me finish this order real quick, and then I'll get right to you.
So I'm assuming shit like this is probably why InNOut decided to pursue this lawsuit. This guy ends up driving off saying he doesn't want anything anymore. Yeah, that's going to be a rough look for this guy in court.
Yeah, that's literally... Oh, bro, man. That combined with the video response where Bryan did the I am being sued video... If they manage to save that video and still have content like this, which is now on August's channel, so it's obviously there for good, Bryan might be cooked in this lawsuit. I can. He says he's not worried, but personally, I think this is like pretty incriminating. Like, this guy is a customer that has changed his mind about InNOut as a result of what Bryan and this other guy have said. So that might be some concrete evidence right there. That's literally a lost customer. Yeah, they wouldn't have had the customer anyway because it was closed, but that guy might have never seen the video, never seen the lawsuit, and think InNOut has a cockroach problem. I ain't never going back. So I can 100% see where everyone's coming from on this one. So let's do a little recap. So with everything we've seen so far, I'm pretty confident in making my assumption that this lawsuit probably isn't going to end in Bryan's favor. I'm no expert on this. This is just my opinion. I don't think Bryan did this maliciously. I don't think Bryan is a bad guy whatsoever. I just think he's made a mistake creating content, put it up there, not really thought about the backlash that might happen from it, about the lawsuit, about the money it might cost. and it's come back to bite him in the arse. But let's be honest, we've all made mistakes, some big, some small. It's about how you bounce back and learn from them. As I said earlier in the video, I think Bryan can make a big comeback, and like I said, Bryan, if you need that lawyer's name and details, shoot me a DM and I'll get it all sent over to you. But yeah, I think it's a tough situation for Bryan. I'll keep you guys updated on the lawsuit as it goes by if you'd like me to, and I'll see you in the next one.